Hey guys, it's Toby Morrison here, and on today's video I want to answer a question from one of our brilliant members in our program that was so relevant that I actually want to share with everybody, because this is probably one of the biggest things that people struggle with when it comes to chronic fatigue syndrome, when it comes to being diagnosed, and when it comes to knowing what the hell to do. It is the most overwhelming period of your time when you're literally being told, to rest or to not rest, to do nothing, then to do everything. Like some doctors will say, you need to push yourself, you need to sweat it out, you need to, stop thinking about it, stop being so negative and just get on with your life. And then other people will say, and this is not to disregard doctors, but these are the common questions that I get from people, so I'm just responding here. The other problem is that some people are told, do nothing. Literally just rest, 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 rest. And yet problems still occur. And so in today's video, I want to demystify some of the things that you may have been told that are maybe not that useful, and give you some helpful tips to make it more useful for you and actually get results. At the end of the day, if what you've been told is working for you, then that is brilliant. That's kind of what we want to get to. If what you've been told is not working for you, you're feeling stuck, you're not getting any progress, or you're even going backwards, then we need to reassess that information. Okay, so we've got the question here from Zoe. Zoe is from UK. The question is the question I have is, this is what Zoe says. The question I have is to do with rest breaks and naps. I'm reading off my iPad here. Before starting this program 2 weeks ago, welcome to the program, super excited to have you in here. I was told by doctors I was not allowed to lay down or have naps, even though I could feel my body was needing it. So for a good God, so annoying. Like, listen to what she's saying. Even though she knew in herself that her body needed it, she knew. So it's really important already. There's already like a warning sign listening to someone who's not inside your body, who's not feeling and experiencing what you're experiencing, and then telling you the opposite of what you feel is appropriate and right for you. But anyway, we're going to get into that very shortly. She says, so for a good 9 months, I pushed through. And so it was comforting to know when I started the program, I could have a nap or take some rest breaks if I needed to. This made a positive effect, and I have a similar amount of energy each day rather than it being all over the place. So already in 2 weeks of being inside our exclusive private program, Zoe has made progress. She's starting to level out and her energy levels are more stable, which is a great sign in such a short period of time. So this is what she says. I'm struggling to know if I'm resting too much, as my body does not feel like it needs all the rest breaks now. Or how do I reduce my nap time in order to have more restored sleep? So this is obviously something that we covered deeply in our program. I was able to refer Zoe to our specific modules that cover quality sleep, when to rest, how to rest, and what to do with where you're at, because everyone is different. Some people will need to rest a lot more right now, and then other people might be resting too much. But I want to demystify this. You are the boss of you, and only you know what is truly right for you, what you need. Now, obviously you can get outside help, you can seek resource, but if someone says to you, and you're really chronically ill, and you're not feeling well at all, they say to you, you cannot rest at all. If they're a doctor, like, I understand they've got a medical degree, that's great, but they're also not in tune with your body. Some of them are. There's some brilliant doctors. We have one in our program, Dr. Olivia. She's amazing. She advocates rest, but she also advocates movement when it's appropriate too, just like we do in our program. Depending on where you're at is going to be dependent on what you do. For some of you, you will need more rest right now. You will not do any movement. You will not do any specific movement. You might do incidental movement throughout the day, daily activities, routine, getting around the house. That is appropriate, and we could classify that as actual movement for you because that's where you're at. Others will be further along the line, and they can start getting into reconditioning their body. But I want to demystify this. Rest is totally okay. Okay? Rest is totally okay. In fact, it's almost a prerequisite for the initial stages and phase of recovery. If we're not able to rest at all and we're kind of pushing, there's going to be a crash. And I did this little diagram for you guys just to share with you. So you can see here, right here, if you're constantly going up and you're not resting, then you're going to be forced to rest. Then you go up again, you push, then you're forced to rest. What we want to do is avoid these ups and downs. Rest can be restorative and rejuvenate you so you can keep making steady progress. Just as you see in this line, we want to kind of like a straighter direction rather than an up and down direction, okay? And that's just a real basic example of what I'm talking about here, is that there is no perfect, but what we need to do is identify exactly what's appropriate for you. For some of you, it might be a 20-minute rest break every hour. For others, it might be tuning into your body. One of the things that we teach our members now is to really just tune into your body. Because there'll be days where you will feel fine and you won't actually need to rest as much as you normally do. On other days, you actually might lower the activity. You'll still do something, but you'll lower it to the amount that's appropriate, and then you'll rest more. And so there's nothing wrong with resting. There's nothing wrong. If you need a nap, you need a nap. Like, you can't force yourself out of that, especially if it's something that you're genuinely feeling inside your body. The other thing that you've got to factor in is fear. Now, if fear is running through your mind and your body and you're constantly in a state of fear of what could happen, then that needs to be addressed too, because that can actually be stopping you from making progress. It's not to say it's all in your mind, it's just that it's really normal for your brain to be overprotective when you have to look after yourself, when you're not feeling so well. So it's a twofold kind of question. The most important thing is the word appropriateness. You need to do what's appropriate. Now, couple of rules here. One of my favorite doctors of all time, Dr. Lionel Lubitz, and he specialized in chronic fatigue syndrome for a long time. And he said, it's about finding the sweet spot. You can't do too much, but you can't do too little. And that's really the key here for all of you. Now, that level is going to be different for everybody. There might be a level of like, this is the scope of too little, too much, but this is the scope of too much. And as you start to get better, that widens and widens and widens. And so you're allowed to fully rest and have a few days off. And then you can push yourself because your body has adapted and can adapt to those stresses, because it's not actually a bad thing anymore, okay? The other thing that we want to make sure we're dialing in is that we're not just taking advice and information from the outside, but we're actually dissecting it for ourselves. Look at the results that you're getting. If you're resting all the time and you're deteriorating, you're becoming more deconditioned, your immune system's becoming weaker, you're not eating at regular times, your sleep is out of whack, it is time to look at that and look at that information and then make a better, healthier decision for you, which will then put you in a better direction, just like Zoe's doing. She's been for 2 weeks, she's already changed the direction of how she's feeling just by adding these changes, and that will help you with your path. The other thing you need to look at, which is probably our biggest problem, like when it comes to people with chronic fatigue syndrome, one of the things is you guys, we're not someone who likes to sit still, right? We're someone who likes to push the envelope and constantly be the best we can be, that type A personality. So one of the things that we help people with initially is a less is more approach. We stop the pushing and crashing. We get a solid baseline, and exactly what I was talking here, this is our baseline here. As you can see, base, we start here and we slowly build up. We avoid these ups and downs and we slowly build. And that is how you get there versus having these ups and downs and pushing yourself all the time. So you can see that there with the baseline. You slowly go up, you might dip for a little bit, then you come back up. And as your health maintains and as you can do stuff without feeling any worse than you currently do, that's when you'll make good, steady progress, okay? One of the things that we talk about with our clients is working in and working out. Working out is outward expenditure of energy. Can be anything, can be mental, can be emotional, so it can be talking to people, can be doing work on your computer, can be anything to do with cognitive load, okay? And physical load, so anything that's exerting energy out of your system. Now, the opposite rules apply too. There are things that you can do that will actually give you energy, okay? And this is where this is energy in, so working in. We teach our clients this stuff, it works. It's amazing to see the difference in such a quick period of time when people apply these things. So to answer Zoe's question, no, you don't need to not rest at all. But you also don't want to rest all the time if it's something that you don't need to do. If you've got a virus, a cold, or a flu, of course you need to listen to your body and do what any healthy, normal, appropriate person would do in that situation and time, okay? But what we want to do is the appropriate amount of rest and switching off, calming down your nervous system, but also knowing when to go, knowing when to slow, knowing when to go, knowing when to slow, and building into that. And that's why we have different components and different steps in our program dependent on where you are at. And that's just so important. You've got to really tune into where you're at, build a solid baseline with where you're at, a solid foundation, which you can build on. The last thing I'm gonna leave with, if you are sleeping during the day, this is a tip, is try not to sleep too late in the day, okay? And this is what happens if you do start to sleep way too late in the day. Let's say you start to have a sleep at 3 p.m. in the afternoon, you wake up at 4 p.m. or 5 p.m. It's almost becoming dark. So your body gets confused as to, is it nighttime, is it morning time, especially if you're not eating regular meals and your digestive system's a bit out of whack. It's hard for your brain and your body to know what time of day it is. And because you've rested in the afternoon, you might wake up feeling super groggy, but when it comes to 9 o'clock, when you want to be winding down, your brain comes back online. You've got more energy because you're rested there. What we want to do is back that down, yeah? So we want to bring that back down to a more appropriate time. Anywhere from, 10 a.m. till around 2:30 p.m. would be a more ideal time to take your naps. Why? Because when you wake up at 2:30 p.m., there's still sunlight. You can still get outside and see the sun, see light, which will tell your brain it's still daytime. And then as the sun goes down, you'll start to wind down with that sun, yeah? As it goes down, you start to calm down, and hopefully you get into a rhythm and a routine. It's a lot more complex than that though. We have a whole hour-and-a-half workshop just on sleep from Dr. Olivia, talking through circadian rhythm, making sure you're doing all the right things, meal and nutrition plans inside of that, movement, restorative breathing, calming down your energy system. There's a lot to it, but these are just some simple, basic things that you need to know. But the biggest message I want to draw home, and I'm obviously passionate about this, is I had to literally film this for you guys. You're allowed to rest, okay? And remember what Dr. Lionel Lubitz says, his perfect saying is, not too much, but not too little. And that's with doing too much and not doing not enough, So please, it doesn't matter whoever you listen to. You want to tune into yourself, you want to figure out what's appropriate for you, and then you want to build a solid baseline from where you're at. You want to stop the pushing and crashing so you can start to make steady progress. You can feel more consistent within your days. It'll feel a lot better. Your immune system will be better. You'll start to actually build consistency and progress within your body, which will then build strength and stamina. And from there, that's where you start to make progress. We've seen this so much, when with our members who get to our 6-month mark, we have a progress check, and it's amazing how far our members come in that period of time, just in the strength and stamina, without actually doing anything crazy or magical. They just do the basics right at the right time, and that principle of not doing too much but not doing too little and building a solid foundation sets them up for success. So, like I said, you are allowed to rest. And I think the biggest thing is giving yourself permission to rest. And that's really important too, like making sure that you just give yourself permission to rest. If you're finding it hard to rest, you know, you need to make it a priority. You need to set a boundary with yourself to have that rejuvenative, restorative, recuperative rest for yourself, so you can balance out the working out stuff, okay? Please just take this with a grain of salt. I know each of you are at individual levels. This is why in our coaching program, we literally do weekly coaching sessions to make sure that each person is tuning into them and knowing what's appropriate for them. But you know, you're the boss of you. You should know what's appropriate for you. And if you don't, look at the results that you're getting right now, the reflection of what's happening around you, what's going on for you right now. If it's working, then that's brilliant. You must be on the right track. If it's not, reconsider these things. Think about what I've just said and stop and pause the video and write them down. What can I do to change this? Because you are in control of some of these things that you can change. And it's proof. We just see it every single week. We see our client, Zoe didn't make that up. That wasn't just a magical thing of why she feels a bit more steady. She changed things and she got a result. And so I just want to share this with you. Make sure that you're doing what's appropriate for you. Remember, not too much, not too little. Find the sweet spot for you and build from there. I hope this video helps. Tried to squeeze it in as best I could. Please just watch all the other videos on this channel. There's so much helpful content. If you want something more specific for you, there's 3 ways we can help you right now. You can download the case studies PDF guide, where you can learn about 8 people's success stories from all different ages and walks of life of what they did to improve and get their life back through our program. Second thing you can do, we have a 20-minute training video on how to get your baseline. It's amazing. It's the best free content I've actually done. So please go and download that. All the links are in the description. And if you want to watch something more in depth, where we kind of take you through the 3 key mistakes that people are making in their recovery, and it's more of a deeper training, longer training, you want your notepad and you want your pen and you want your glass of water or your cup of tea, go down, download the on-demand recovery webinar. You'll see a link below. So like I said, 3 ways. Case study guide, baseline training, and then the on-demand recovery webinar. Take your time through it. If you want a bit of inspiration and hope, download the case study guide. If you want to learn how to stop pushing and crashing, download the baseline video. And if you want a deeper dive into recovery altogether, watch the on-demand recovery webinar. All of it's going to give you hope. A lot of it's practical information. As you guys know, I'm all about practical change. Being proactive, what can we do right now to help ourselves move forwards in our lives? All the best for now. Enjoy the trainings and we'll speak to you soon. Bye.